welcome to the Let's Talk World exclusives here at Social Media Shows. And thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for supporting our other shows here at Social Media Shows. Well, my first exclusive or my exclusive interview today is a couple. They are big here in Las Vegas. I love both of these person actually. So my the woman that I'm gonna introduce first is she is a singer, an actress, artist, and was born in Rutland, Vermont. She currently performs as Karen Carpenter in Carpenters Legacy. She is the first ever and only Karen Carpenter's tribute artist to perform with legends in concert. And the next person is a versatile pianist, did I say that correctly? Singer and entertainer, and was born in Charleston, South Carolina. He has conducted for Don Rickles, John Rivers, and performed at the Liberace Museum. Wow, impressive. He appeared at Matlock and the George Lucas film Radioland Murders. Ooh, and he was voted most likely to exemplify the spirit of Las Vegas. Please welcome my guests, my exclusive guests, Sally and Ned, the Carpenters. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
And this is Laura.
And also, yes, I forgot to actually introduce the most amazing Chihuahua ever, their baby, Lola. I forgot about that. See, I should have put that on my notes. But anyway, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Well, you guys are okay. I want to start with tell us how you guys met together, because that's being in my mind all this time that I haven't asked.
Sure. Well, I guess I can start
Yeah.
that story. I have been performing as Karen Carpenter back in Vermont since 2015. And I had been doing the show for a few years, and I got to the point in the show's development that I had some, I guess, bigger ideas for it. And I identified Las Vegas as a place that I needed to be as a tribute artist to get to the next level with the show. And I was also at the point where I needed somebody to actively play the role of Richard in the show. I had had a pianist and sometimes a small band, but the pianist was never playing the role of Richard. So I made this first trip to Las Vegas in January of 2018, and it all resulted from I had done my show at the Triad Theater in New York City in April of 2017. And so there was a gentleman there who really loved the show, and he said, "It's some ideas, and we'll be in touch." And then he got in touch a few months later, and he connected me with his childhood friend, a former showgirl, Pam Sullivan, who lives here in Las Vegas. And so Pam and I talked for several months, and then we made that plan for me to come out in January of 2018. And she scheduled me to sit in with several pianists, and Ed was the very first one. And he also ended up being the last one because we hit it off. Met him at the Tap House. And then he played for me the rest of that week. And then I went back to Vermont, and then I came back to Vegas about 2 months later. And that time I stayed for 2.5 weeks. And during that trip, I made the decision that I would move to Vegas. So back to Vermont, packed up my life, got out of my apartment lease, got out of my job like within 2 weeks' time, and came out to Vegas. Well, and I did a show in Ohio on the way. I drove my car cross country.
I did the move for her, and
So
the rest is history. As they say.
that's how it all
And
happened.
you used to live in South Carolina, Ned. So how did you met the beautiful Sally?
Yeah, well, as she explained when she came to visit Vegas, our mutual friend invited me to, or had encouraged that I invite her to come sit in.
Ah,
And so I had a steady show at the time every Wednesday at the Rampart.
So that's right.
And so she became a regular guest on the show. And There you go. So,
And there you go. There's Sally and Ned, the Carpenters. Carpenters. Wow, that's amazing. I literally love you guys' songs. Actually, you bring back the memories on my childhood because my mom used to run all those songs over and over and over again. So you can imagine how those song was actually engraved into my mind. So every time you guys sing, it's just I'm like, I felt like I'm a baby again. But anyway, so you guys moved to Sally moved to Vegas. We started and met Ned. And how long you guys been married?
we're not.
Oh,
We're a couple.
oh, you guys a couple. Okay, yes,
Yeah, but we've been together for 3 years.
2 years, amazing. And
Three
I can see the the team together. You guys actually the chemistry and everything is just totally blowing all my viewers in the Philippines. The song, the Carpenters actually are huge in the Philippines. So they were like, "Oh, carpenters?" I said, "No, they are the tribute artists, but they can be." So they were like, "Wow, they are blown away by you guys' voice." By the way, but anyways, I sent you guys some questionnaires a few days ago, and I uh, I asked one of the question, "What's your favorite social media?" But I'm not gonna ask that question because that's my regular question I ask to everybody. I just want to ask you guys why social media is very important for our exposure doing all these type of shows.
Well, yeah, I think Facebook specifically has really been instrumental in the development of my show. I mean, it's really the truth. Like I wouldn't have met the gentleman who came to my show in New York City, who ended up leading me to Las Vegas, were it not for Facebook. And then I wouldn't have met Ned. It's really amazing. That's all because
Oh
of the
wow,
networking that happens with social
true.
media platforms like Facebook.
And it's a great way to promote concerts as well. One
Yes.
of our promoters helped us sell out 2 shows in Texas recently by promoting it on social media. He buys advertising on social media.
And by the way, that's where I met you guys. That's where I found you guys is social media. So thanks to social media, right?
Yeah.
It's very effective.
It's very effective. Well, okay, I'm gonna go back to your to how you guys met earlier. So you moved to Vegas and start doing shows in Las Vegas, Sally. Uh, so you've been an artist. You went to school actually in the performing arts school, right?
Um, I majored in studio art painting. That was always my main thing. And then it wasn't until after college that I got into performing arts more professionally. Although all through my childhood and all through high school and college, I was singing in chorus groups, a cappella groups, choirs. So the performing was always something that I was doing. It was always important, but I didn't start training professionally until about 2009.
And how about you, Ned? Do you have any degree in performing? How long you been performing in Vegas?
Yeah, I've been performing in Vegas for 21 years. And I started out in college as a trumpet major. And I did that for 2 years. And then that was at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. And then I transferred to North Texas State University in Denton, Texas. And I switched my major to jazz piano with an emphasis in jazz arranging. And so I got my degree from that. And they both come in handy because in our Carpenters tribute, I often do an opening act. I do a tribute to Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, the famous trumpet player. So I get to play trumpet and piano in the shows.
Oh wow! So you know what I'm going to this is Sally is a singer and you are you actually are doing the piano and everything. And what do you don't you I don't know who you believe in, but it's kind of like you guys are connected together to go through the to this day. Is that correct?
We're definitely connected through music, that's for sure. That's
Ye-
our common bond.
Yep. So well, that's what actually what brings me to my next question to you is uh, if you go back 5 years in time, what where you would be and what you should be doing by back in 5 years 5 years ago. Normally the question is where you gonna be in 5 years forward, but I am changing the essence of the question. Where were you 5 years ago, and what would you like to change about it? Both of you. I start with Sally.
Mhm. Well, five years ago, that would have been, what, 2016, and I was living in Vermont, in Burlington, Vermont, and I was managing director at a voice or singing studio. So I was running the business, and that's kind of how I was able to get into singing professionally. I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed my job, and at the time of my Carpenter show, it was about a year old. So I don't necessarily think that I would change anything. I was on the right path to get where I was going. I didn't really know it at the time, but I knew that I wanted to keep on doing this Carpenter show, and that I wanted to take it to the highest level that was possible. So I didn't quite know at that time that Vegas was in my future. Although by 2017, I had made some big press in Vermont, and they did this. There's a weekly paper called 7 Days, and they did like they have an annual comic issue. So the famous cartoonist Harry Bliss did a comic on me, and I remember part of the interview that they did to put this comic strip together was asking me what vision I have for this show, and I was like, well, I just kind of said off the cuff that like I'd love to have a show in Las Vegas, and that's part of the comic. So it kind of became prophetic. So yeah, that's what I would have to say about that.
And you, Ned?
Yeah, well, 5 years ago, I was still here. I was doing many of the things that I still do. I conduct a lot of other shows and acts. My specialty is Rat Pack, Sinatra type things, corporate events, conventions. I like the diversity. In fact, I just got back last night from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to conduct the show, and this weekend I'm going to Chicago to conduct another one. So
Wow.
I don't really have any. I guess my only thing I wish I'd done 5 years ago is I wish I'd bought Bitcoin.
I am actually.
I hadn't seen that.
Well,
Sorry.
you have a chance to buy Shiba now.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe Amazon stock.
Yeah.
But seriously, I really have no regrets because there was a saying a friend of mine used to say in his performances. He said, "If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans."
Yep.
So you do the best you can. You know, we're in charge, but we're not in control. God is in control.
That's true.
So you do the best you can with it, and so everything happens for a reason. You know, and this is our path. We don't know exactly where we're going. We're just doing the best we can with the cards. Who would have known? Think about it. Just 2 years ago, if we were all told that we would have to wear a mask to go into a restaurant, and we would have all these things, and that the economy would be, we would have said, "You're crazy. That's impossible." And look what's happened. And so everybody has had to adapt and change and survive and do what we can to get through this madness.
I know, right? So you actually met 2 years ago. That is before the pandemic, huh?
3 and a half years ago.
Oh, three. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
3.5 years.
January of 2018. So yeah, a little bit longer.
So I saw you on set, Ned. I saw you on set, being very, very. I want it in order and everything. How is it important, especially on what we do? You see, or you also see me how I try to get everything done. How is it important to pre-plan before doing a production? I just want to actually throw that.
That's a great question because a lot of people don't understand that. I hate to use the word easy, but the most rewarding part of what we do, Sally and I both agree, is the show itself. The moment we walk on stage, that is playtime. That is our reward.
For all the hard work.
All the hard work before. and so before we do a show, as you know, Sally is, you know, kind of unofficially, we don't have like, you know, titles attached to our names, but we both know what our talents are and our strengths are. And so Sally is our social media promotion person, that sort of thing, anything visual. And I'm the music director and anything audio that you hear. And so when we put these shows together in advance, I have these highly technical sheets describing, it's called a microphone input list, everything we need, our stage layout, where every little detail is, and then I'm the one in charge of booking the musicians, putting that together. And the logistics can be very complicated, especially if you're flying out of town and you're not traveling by car. You know, we tend to choose an airline that has free bags, you know, because there's a lot of luggage, a lot to do. And so what a lot of people don't understand is in a lot of these venues, you only have that day to put the whole thing together with musicians you might have never met before. So it's not uncommon for us to walk into an auditorium at 12 o'clock, and then it takes 2 hours just to set the stage, set the drums, the musicians arrive, rehearse them. By 5 o'clock, we have to be done. And the only way to get that impossible task done is to be highly organized. And one of these things is to be that way.
Yep. You know, it's really funny because people, when we walk on stage, like you said, it's a reward. They think that we walk on stage like you guys stay on stage and start performing like you never been in pain or suffer for putting all the equipments together. We don't have, you know what I mean? They don't see that in our face when you go lights, camera, action, right?
Absolutely. Our employees with our show, you're looking at it.
Yeah,
There's
we don't have an entourage. We don't have roadies.
And also,
We do it all
well, there
pretty
are
much.
obviously, but if someone becomes, you know, the next Celine Dion or what have you, or Barry Manilow, obviously they have the luxury of having budgets that they can go in and perform. And even then, they will tell you they paid their dues to get where they were.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and
definitely.
also, we're at the level, I guess, where we're, especially Sally, as she's the utmost perfectionist. And if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself many times, you know. And I've run into that dealing with people and communicating what's needed. And sometimes it's like, heck, I'll just do it.
Yep.
You know,
Something that's doable.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I'll give you one little example. It's not even related to the show, but when Sally wanted to move to Las Vegas, I must have called 20 companies to get her car moved over to Vegas. And they were all snake oil salesmen, and I couldn't get a straight answer out of whatever. I said, heck with it. I flew there and I drove the car myself, get it done.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So sometimes, and we're at that point where we want the highest level, the highest musical standard that we can possibly get for the budget that a client provides. You know, we're not at the level yet that we have a 60-piece orchestra behind us, you know, and all that. Sometimes it's intimate cabaret spaces like me, her, and tracks, or it's maybe me, her, and our drummer, or we add guitar, saxophone, whatever's needed to give them the biggest bang for the buck. But it has to be highly organized, because the one thing you can't change is time. That train will leave the station whether you're on it or not.
Yep.
That's a big part of it, and you can appreciate that as well.
Yep. Yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years on my own. As you saw me behind the camera for 2 times already or 3 times, and yeah, it's not easy. You're gonna be very organized. You know where to hook up and everything, and you know how to fix it right instantly when something goes wrong.
And you have to, as you know, the famous, you know, saying Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah.
Will go wrong at the most inconvenient time. The show I conducted yesterday, I told the producer who provides a keyboard for me, I said, we've been very blessed, but we need to buy extra cables, extra power supplies, pedals, because this keyboard's working today, but one day there's going to be a problem. So we actually buy backup equipment for whatever is needed should that problem arise. And Sally's had to do that. We've had shows, we won't say where, but we've had shows with people that are very well intentioned, but it might be a smaller venue that doesn't have a budget, and they have one poor guy doing everything. He's doing the sound, he's doing the lights, he's running the monitors, he's running crazy. And we've had shows where, you know what, Sally goes, you know what the heck, I'll just run the video. So
the video projections are a big part of our show, and that's my department in terms of artistically and graphically. I put that all together.
Yeah.
So when it doesn't go right, which often it doesn't go right,
Yep.
Yes.
nobody understands the show like we do. That I can't help but take it personally because it's my baby, and I'm like, no,
Yep.
it needs to be perfect. So like Ned was saying, there's been certain shows where I end up running the video cues because I'm like, well, at least if I do it, I know that it'll be done.
So look what anyone knows.
So-
Here's Karen in this beautiful dress, runs off stage, hits the space bar on the laptop, runs back on stage. We did that. We did that recently.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. And when we do our full show, I run out there, I play trumpet, I do Herb Alpert, which the reason why people ask very often, why are we doing that? A&M Records is the ones who gave the Carpenters a big break. The A of A&M is Herb Alpert. He's the one. And so I explain the connection between it. So I'll go play trumpet, run backstage, change costumes, go out. Now I'm Richard Carpenter. I'm conducting the band. I'm doing all that. So yeah, we have our hands full. That's why, actually, at the end of the day, we would love to have a residency where we can just hop in the car and go to our one show and not have all these logistical challenges.
Well, I hope somebody will see this video and hire you guys to be on the residency soon. I am hoping and praying for that. But anyways, this is the first part of the interview, and I have so many things I want to talk to you guys about. I have like a long list. But one of the things that I want to talk about on the second part of the interview is this will blow your mind about Sally and Ned, something that nobody might not know right now. This of, famous here in Vegas couple right here, the Carpenters, is just so freaking amazing. And when I saw their whole bio, I'm like, oh, wow. So you guys gonna be blown away with this one on the next segment. So please don't go away. If you guys wanna see the second segment of the show, go ahead and click on the socialmediashows.com. You're gonna go on the branded shows and you will see Let's Talk World exclusives. That's where you're gonna be seeing the next part of the interview that will blow your mind away. So please don't go away. We will be right back.